Turns out, the NLRP3 inflammasome and Alzheimer's. Your brain's immune system might be killing you on purpose, not because it hates you, because it's confused. And right now, in labs across the world, scientists are watching this confusion happen in real time, trying to figure out how to stop it before your memories disappear. The question isn't whether your brain's defense system is involved in Alzheimer's. We've known that for years. The question is whether we've been fighting the wrong enemy all along. So here's what keeps researchers up at night. What if the real killer in Alzheimer's disease isn't the famous plaques everyone talks about? What if it's your own immune system throwing a tantrum that won't stop? For decades, Alzheimer's research fixated on amyloid beta. These sticky proteins pile up in the brain like garbage that won't get picked up. We threw money at them. We built drugs to clear them. Some worked a little, most didn't, and people kept forgetting, kept losing themselves. The field assumed we'd solve Alzheimer's by cleaning up the mess. But what if the real problem isn't the mess itself, but your brain's reaction to the mess? That's where the NLRP3 inflammasome comes in. It's a protein complex that acts like your brain's security system, except it's broken. A team of researchers from China-Japan Friendship Hospital and Beijing University of Chinese Medicine decided to map exactly how broken. They published their work in Aging Research Reviews in July of 2026. The lead authors were Lian W., Zhou F., Tong Z, and their colleagues. These researchers spent years pulling together everything we know about this one specific protein complex. They looked at human brain tissue from actual Alzheimer's patients. They analyzed cerebrospinal fluid, the liquid that bathes your brain. They ran the numbers on multiple animal models. Then they asked the question nobody else had asked clearly enough. What if we just turned this thing off? Here's how you study something this intricate. Imagine your brain's immune system as a smoke detector. A good smoke detector is sensitive. It spots real fires. But a broken one? It screams at burnt toast. It screams at cooking steam. It screams until the batteries die. The NLRP3 inflammasome is that detector. It sits in your brain cells, especially the immune cells called microglia, waiting for danger signals. Those signals come in multiple forms. Amyloid beta shows up. Tau tangles accumulate. Cellular damage happens. The detector notices. And it activates. When NLRP3 activates, it triggers a cascade. It starts producing inflammatory molecules called cytokines. Think of these as alarm signals. One blast of alarm? Helpful. Chronic blasting? Catastrophic. That's what the researchers found in Alzheimer's brains, not occasional activation. Chronic, sustained, relentless activation. The alarm system never switches off, and your brain cells eventually just break under the stress. The researchers analyzed this from multiple angles. They looked at brain tissue samples from deceased Alzheimer's patients compared to healthy controls. They measured NLRP3 activation markers in cerebrospinal fluid from living people with cognitive decline. They ran experiments in animal models engineered to develop Alzheimer's-like pathology. And here's what they found consistently across all these approaches. NLRP3 activation was significantly higher in Alzheimer's brains. We're talking substantially higher, not a tiny statistical blip, a real, measurable, clinically relevant difference. But it gets more interesting. NLRP3 wasn't just present, it was directly connected to the pathology. The more amyloid beta accumulated, the more NLRP3 activated. The more tau tangles developed, the worse the inflammation got. The activation was early too. It showed up before massive cognitive decline, before the most severe brain damage. It was there in the beginning, doing its destructive work quietly while everyone was looking elsewhere. The research team found that when NLRP3 misfires, it drives multiple downstream problems simultaneously. It accelerates amyloid beta production. It promotes tau pathology. It triggers microglial activation. These immune cells start attacking the brain's own neurons. It increases the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, letting even more inflammatory molecules flood into neural tissue. One broken switch causes an entire cascade of destruction. Fix one thing, you potentially fix many. Now, what does this actually mean for someone's actual life? If your parent is starting to forget things, or you're worried about your own cognitive future, this research points toward a completely different treatment strategy. Instead of chasing plaques, neurologists could target inflammation upstream. Instead of waiting for damage to accumulate, they could potentially intervene earlier, when NLRP3 activation first begins. It's not a cure yet. That's important to say clearly. The studies here are mostly mechanistic. They explain how the problem works. They're not full clinical trials on humans proving a drug fixes everything, but they point somewhere real. One honest limitation: animal models are useful, but they're not humans. A mouse brain is fundamentally different from your brain. Something that works perfectly in a mouse often fails in human trials. Another thing to consider: knowing NLRP3 is involved doesn't automatically mean blocking it is safe. Your immune system evolved this way for reasons. Shut down one component too hard, and you might lose other protections. You might make yourself vulnerable to infections or cancers. These aren't small concerns. They're why drug development takes time. But here's where the field stands now. Several research groups are already working on NLRP3 inhibitors, compounds that can dial down this overactive sensor. Some show promise in early tests. The reason this matters so much is because it changes how we think about Alzheimer's fundamentally. We've been treating it as a protein-folding disease. Now it looks more like an autoimmune disease where your brain's own defenses turn traitor. This challenges every assumption about why Alzheimer's develops differently in different people. Genetics clearly matter. Age matters. Lifestyle factors matter. But what if the critical variable is whether your brain's inflammasome is genetically prone to overfire? What if some people inherit a hair-trigger immune system? What if Alzheimer's isn't one disease, but multiple diseases that converge on neuroinflammation as the final pathway? That question hasn't been answered, and it might be the most important question neuroscience can ask right now. The most stunning implication of this research is that we might have had the solution backwards. We built drugs to clear plaques. We should have been building drugs to calm the immune response. We spent billions attacking amyloid beta. We barely invested in understanding the immune system's role. If NLRP3 inhibitors actually slow cognitive decline in human trials, and that's a genuine if, not a done deal, it won't just be another Alzheimer's treatment. It'll be evidence that we've been fighting the wrong battle for 20 years. Turns out scientists have been busy, and they're not done yet.